The key principles in project manager is that you don't need to assume anything. You have to be sure about everything that your team is doing and doing the right thing.
Welcome to the Team Amplifier Podcast. I'm your host, Byron Summerdahl. Here you'll be inspired by industry leaders who build flourishing tech teams. Stay tuned and prepare to be amplified.
3, 2, 1.
Today we're here with Sherol Streden. We're talking about protecting your team from politics to help them to flourish. Sherol is a reformed project manager turned IT consultant. He's also an avid outdoorsman and a former Caribbean Dutchman. Now, Sherol, I need for you to explain that, but also just tell us more about who you are and what you're doing these days.
Okay. Thank you, Byron, for inviting me to this session, and thank you for the opportunity. Yes, former Dutchman from the Caribbean. Actually, I was born in Curacao. It's a little Caribbean island in front of the coast of Venezuela, next to Aruba. Most of the people in the United States have heard of Aruba. Almost nobody heard of Curacao. Curacao is a little island. If you like diving, scuba diving, that's the ideal place to go. Dutchman, because it's a Dutch colony, and when I was about 21 years, I moved to the Netherlands and for study, and then I lived there for about 30 years, and then moved to the U.S. In 2016, I came to know a beautiful woman, U.S. citizen. We married in 2019, and 2020 I moved to, just before the pandemic, I moved to the U.S.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. So that's it.
So what are you doing these days professionally?
Professionally, at the moment, I'm a full-time quality controller in a financial institute. But next to that, I have my own company, Boss Dynamics, where I give small and medium enterprises to the consultants services on digital transformation. So everything that has to do with IT, how to use IT in their company, in their organizations to enhance their own services. Most of small and medium companies, they don't have the resources to hire a permanent technology officer or technology team to put that in place. So that's where Boss Dynamics comes in.
Man, it's awesome and good work for sure. Mm-hmm. And you've had a lot of experience with that and through your other jobs where you've been able to feel the effects of politics.
Correct, yeah.
And the things that they do, that the effects that it has on the team and how well the team can flourish, or whether or not it starts to push down the team and really reduce or diminish their level of flourishing. And so that's what we're going to be talking about today, is how to shield your team from those politics. But before we get into that, Sherol, I want to ask you about if there's been a book that you've been reading lately that really made an impact on you.
Sure. There is a book where I have been reading, and it is about leadership. It is a book from Mark Divine, and it is called Staring Down the Wall. It is about leadership, the 7 commitments that you will have to have as a leader. So I recommend everybody to buy it and to read it and to apply those strategies and principles that he is talking about. And this has been very useful for me.
Now, Sherol, I know that with your background that you have surely had some mistakes along the way that helped you to become the person that you are today. Mm-hmm. That's in a lot of cases, how we become great leaders. That's how we know what to do in this and that situation, because we've fallen flat on our faces and we've experienced things the hard way. Some just they just arrive, and that's awesome. But for the rest of us normal people, like you and I, Sherol, we have to learn. Yeah. And it's a great school. The School of Hard Knocks is a very, very prestigious school. So Sherol, I'm curious about your background, your embarrassing mistakes. So it's confession time. Tell us about an embarrassing mistake that you've made as a tech leader.
Okay, as you said, that it is all learning how to manifest yourself, how to come better in your role as a leader in the IT industry. Like you said, I started as a network engineer back in the 90s, and in around 2002, I was promoted to project manager, project leader. So, as a young fellow, being project leader, you want to excel in everything that you do, and to give a good performance, but also to look good at the management of the company, and not considering the team that you have. So I was going to promote myself being a good project manager and not looking at the performance of my team. And I didn't, one of the key principles in project manager is that you don't need to assume anything. You have to be sure about everything that your team is doing and doing the right thing so you can report. I didn't do it. I assumed things that people was doing their job, and I had like say hidden agenda to be a good project manager, and I failed. The project failed. They removed me from the project, but I learned.
My dad used to say, my dad passed away a few months ago.
Oh, wow. I'm sorry to hear
And
that.
thank you, all the things that he has said to me throughout my life started to kind of come to memory.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of an effect of what happens when you lose somebody that's close to you, is you start to really appreciate the things that they would say. Yeah. And one of the things that he always said was, people do what you inspect, not what you expect. And as hard as we want, as much as we might want to believe that people will do the right thing and will stick to their jobs and will want the best for their team or their company or their leader without inspection, people kind of generally do what you inspect. If they think that nobody's going to check it out later on, easy to let it fall by the wayside. So your story resonates with me because I've made plenty of assumptions too. I remember a time when I, as our company's brand promise, we said to our clients as part of the sales pitch, right? We do TDD. We do test-driven development. So we're going to write the test first. We would explain all of this stuff to our clients. Write the test first, make it red, turn it green, refactor, the red, green refactor. This is how we do things. This is our brand promise. And so we would get some clients very excited about this possibility of having this kind of like rock solid software. It's kind of one of the promises of TDD. And then as our team grew, I lost track of the training that our developers were getting and also of the actual job that our developers were doing. And we had coverage reports coming through and we could see that the coverage was fine. Everything was going up, but we weren't actually inspecting. We weren't actually checking. And I assumed that the developers, because their covers looked good and everybody's happy, I thought that everybody was doing TDD, and it turns out that they were not. They were writing just enough code in the test to bump the coverage up, and then that was it. There wasn't any actual real valid tests running. And then we had to go back to our clients and say, sorry, this is what we thought was happening. Now it's not happening. And now we're going to go back and fix it all.
One of the things
that was also my learning from it, assuming.
Yes. So one of the things that I learned during that process is that you have to get the trust of your team first, And one of the things that I did always is go sit next to the person, the expert, and especially when you have the technical background, it is more easy to talk to somebody like that, to talk to the expert, and then you will see how the trust will grow, and then They will say, okay, actually I said we are good, but still we are having some issues with this and that and this. And then as a leader, you have to open doors or to provide the resources for them to solve their problems. So that's how I learned about that. And it is easy to assume indeed, but it takes time and energy to go and sit next to a team member or to get the actual facts of what is going on. Mm-hmm. And that is essential as a leader when you, especially in the technical industry, in the IT world.
Mm-hmm. So today we're talking about politics.
Yeah.
And I can't help thinking about the many times in my own career, my own leadership, when I have also fallen flat on my face when it comes to politics. And I imagine, we were drawn to this topic while we were talking before because of mistakes that you've made and that I've made in our past about letting some of those politics kind of seep into the team and to start really affecting culture. But we want to shield them from those politics because it's not something that they really need in their lives. No. And it's something that can really, really stifle their flourishing. It can stifle their growth. It can stifle their love for the work. But let's tell everybody, and I'll get this from you. What do we mean from shielding them from politics?
Look, in every project, especially in corporate industry, enterprises, you have to do with a lot of stakeholders when you executing a project, So every stakeholder has their own agenda, own view of things, and their own goals with their project, with your project, the project that you are doing, And sometimes it doesn't mean that their goal is very aligned, because they have their own goal, they have their own agenda. As a leader, and that's why it becomes politics, because you need to know all those agendas, all those main goals of the stakeholders, because they're providing you, they're giving you the resources, both financial or human or technology. So you have to consider them, but you have to know what the politics is, what their agenda is, but not playing on their agenda, And then looking at your team, how to, like we say, to protect them, because they are not in the position to do. They want to do their job. They want to focus on technology and the job that they are doing, and don't interrupt them with politics things. So you have to shield them from that as a leader, So know the politics, but don't play it, especially not in your team. Not let that infiltrate in your team.
So we could also say, we could probably take this to the extreme, right? Where we say, okay, we're going to shield our team from all feedback. And I don't think that's what we're talking about. No. There's a difference between from politics and feedback. And just because it's negative feedback doesn't mean it's politics. So can you unpack the difference?
The difference is in the meaning that you can give a feedback to your team in a meeting, saying, okay, we need to focus on certain part of the project so that it can run smooth, that can be executed smooth. This is the feedback that we have gotten from the managers, that we need, let's say, put more speed on certain areas of the project. That's a feedback. That's a feedback that you get from it. But if a manager or executive can come to you and say, okay, what is in for me when executing this project? I need it because it is good for my personality, good for my and as a leader you have to figure out, hey, this is This man is talking about his ego or his own career to how to advance it on using this project to enhance and advance his own career. That is politic. That's not feedback. He has his own agenda. He wants to get personal improvement, get higher in the ladder. Things like that are hidden agendas that you don't need to go to your team with. You need to protect your team about those kind of things.
So what does shielding them from those politics have to do with human flourishing then?
Sorry, come again?
What does shielding them from politics have to do with human flourishing?
When you have a technical expert, he wants to focus on what he is doing. He has the technical knowledge. He wants to do what you have asked him to do in the project, to execute it as good as possible. But he doesn't want to know, or be stressed about, this is what the management wants, and the second management wants another thing. Oh, this is putting me in a kind of dilemma because I don't know how to deal with it. So that is when you come in as a leader, and you may have to make sure that the manager doesn't approach those technical persons personally, because you want to protect them of getting confused on what every manager has to say. You understand? So a technical person wants to focus on his technical task, and then you have to play the politics actually, but not let it infiltrate to your team.
So, Sherol, I'm pretty sure that politics can contribute to burnout too, because it really douses the fire that might have brought you into your job in the first place. Tell me what you think about how politics can affect or speed up maybe burnout.
Okay. Even as a leader, you have to be very cautious about this. It's a kind of game that sometimes managers in big organizations are playing. They have their own standards, their own values, own goals. So you have to be very alert and focus on, what is actually your project and what are the aims, the goals that you agreed with all the managers to be that this project will get. So as a leader, you have to be very cautious and very alert that all those things won't bring confusion to you, but especially not to your team, because your team is not prepared to play that game. Your team wants to focus on what they want to do. If they are confused and get stressed of different opinions, different things, people saying that they need to do this or they need to do this, at a certain point, they may get so stressed, that if you are not alert, if you are not cautious, it may lead to burnout. So as a leader, as a technical leader, you need to be very conscious about that. And that's how I want to protect. As a leader, you need to protect them. So you need to be authentic. You need to have your own values and principles. As a team leader, you need to walk your talk. So that they can trust you. And be prepared sometimes to do hands-on activities. Sit next to an engineer and say, okay, you want to configure that? Show me how to do it. I will help you. Actually, go on the field with them. So that the trust can can grow. And as as long as there is trust between the engineers, the experts, and the leader, you will see that the project has a bigger chance to be a successful project.
So I experienced plenty of politics as an individual contributor years ago, and I those are things that could have been completely like I didn't even have to know about the politics that were going on.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't contribute to what I was contributing. It didn't make me a better worker. It made me a worse worker, probably, just like we're talking about. So in my past, some of my leaders didn't shield me from the politics. They just let it flow right on through. So why do you think more leaders don't shield their team from politics? Why do some leaders just let it through?
It is because they have their own agenda. Like I said in the beginning of the interview, I was young when I became a project manager, so I want to perform, to be a successful project manager, you know. So you want to be popular with your managers, higher managers, you know. So instead of protecting your team or helping your team, getting the trust of your team, you want to get the trust of your managers, higher managers. So, and that means that at some certain point, you will be sacrificing your team during the project, you know, because they will be confronted with news, they will be confronted with things that they don't have any interest, it's not of any interest for them, you know. So actually it is a kind of having your own agenda and an ego that you want to perform, you want to be popular at the higher manager. That's why what happened in many projects, you know, that project managers have their own agenda instead of being authentic, working according to principles and standards.
I think that also, so I agree with you. I think that leaders often have their own agenda. I can think of my own failures in the past also where I can't say I've never had my own agenda, but early on as a leader, I really, really wanted to do a good job, and I really wanted to be one of those leaders that could be celebrated. And so I was very excited about being transparent. I was very excited about the just being honest with everybody. And so I think I fell into that same the pitfall really early on of letting those politics flow through in the name of transparency. And so I think, you know, sometimes I remember a phrase that was thrown around years ago, being so open-minded that your brains are falling out. Well, I may have been so transparent that I just let everything through. And I think what we're trying to say here is there is and should be a reasonable filter that we as leaders need to employ.
Correct, yeah.
We can't just let everything through. And it's not being dishonest or it's not being opaque as a leader. We can still be transparent, like you said earlier, about the outcomes that are expected without all of the political baggage. We don't have to let that stuff through.
Yeah, of course. When you have a meeting with your team, you can report on the financial status. You know, okay, we are running behind on time. We are running. We spent this amount of money in this module of the project, so we need to be, you know, more conscious about that. How to upgrade our performance. Those are feedbacks. Those are feedbacks that you have to let pass to your team. But when the manager says to you, okay, what is it in for me when a project has to be do such and such for my department because of this, our department will have the benefits. But at the other side, other managers have their own benefits with the project, but they are not aligned. So you have to, as a leader, you have to negotiate. Let me use that word, negotiate, to get to an agreement, to a compromise. Yeah, you don't want to put that on the shoulders of an expert. You don't want to put that on the shoulders of an engineer. So that's why you don't let the manager go through your team and directly on a personal basis and say, okay, I want you to do this and this and this and this. No, you protect your team and you negotiate with all the stakeholders of your project board. This is the main agreed goal that we are going for. And whatever you have on a personal basis, what you need, okay, we need to deal with it later, not in this project.
So what do you think some tech leaders who are trying to start shielding their team from politics, what do you think those tech leaders might overlook in their journey? They're starting out to shield their teams from politics. They realize the error of their ways. What are some things that they're going to find along the way that we can warn them about ahead of time?
You know, in project management, there is a term to say stakeholders management. So you need to know your stakeholders. You need to know the higher project manager. You need to know their agendas. You need to know what is the game in that what is the culture, especially on the higher and executive level. What is going on there? Yeah, what are the different interests? So you need to be aware of that. You know? As long as you are not aware of that, and as long as you give the opportunity to a single manager to go through directly to your team, then you will be having those kind of confusion in your project. Stay to focus on your goal that you agree. Don't let it is a very essential thing of project management. Don't change your goals on or you have to be working like the new project methodology like agile. But actually, even agile, you need to have a main goal where you have to focus on. You cannot go left and right every time from manager to other manager. Now we have to consider this manager, or now we have to consider this group of managers. So you need to be very alert and focus on what your main goal is in your project. And then that means that sometimes you will not be popular at the management level.
Yeah, so you'd have to be willing maybe to lay aside some of your popularity.
Mm-hmm.
That's an unfortunate thing, but I mean, we can't always be the light in the room. Sometimes we have to be a Debbie Downer, or we have to be the wet blanket, just so that we can help everybody continue flourishing. Yeah, I appreciate that observation, because sometimes being the best leader means sacrifice. And we don't often think about our own popularity or our own likability as a sacrifice, but it kind of is. I mean, sometimes we have to lay those things down to be the best leader that we can be and to help everybody else around us to flourish. And it's a worthy sacrifice. Totally. So can you share about a time when shielding your team from politics led to unexpected results?
Yeah, sure. I remember one time that I was working on a big oil company in Europe, and they were implementing a global project, but it was not moving forward. It was, and one of the manager approached me and said, "Sherol, we need you to perform this project because it's not moving." So the first thing what I did was indeed go to all the stakeholders, check what the main goal, what the aligned goal for the project was, and make agreement. Let them agree, let them approve actually let them sign the document, that okay, this is what we agreed, this is what we are going for, not left, not right, this is what we are going to do. And I make a sacrifice on the team, because the team was a very big team, about 16 people at the time, and I needed only 6 or 7 of the engineers at the time. So I cut the team in the half and send the other engineers home. And we sit together. We put clarity on what the aim of the project was, because there was no clarity. The former project manager let everybody being approached by everybody, so there was a stress. So be very clear about what you want to achieve with your project, and give that to your engineer, and then define what they need. And we call it work package or whatever, but define what they together with the engineer, what they need to do and what time you want them to achieve those goals in the package that they have, and be very clear. And then be very strict. So don't, like we said in the beginning, don't assume anything. If an engineer gives you something, always keep asking why. Sometimes you need to ask 5 times why this, to get the correct answer, so you can then report to your manager on the correct way, and that's how, it was very strict, very clear, very sometimes even micromanagement, but on what the project was almost 2 years going on, and I managed to finalize it in about 6 months. So that's
that's a pretty nice outcome.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can tie that outcome back to the lack of interruptions. Correct, from politicking, people trying to get their way. Wow.
Yes, because I shielded them completely. The engineers that I had, I put them in a room. No managers were allowed to go there. Seriously, sometimes you have to shield them, on a physical basis. So every time that a manager want to know something, they need to go straight to me. I instructed also the engineers, if you get approached from any manager or people outside the project manager, send them directly to me. Let me attend. Let me handle the situation. Yeah. If I need any information, I will come to you to ask you about the information they need. Don't let anybody to confuse you and say, okay, now you need that, because that's my role, my task, to guide you, to correct you, to help you, and to give you the resources you need.
Man, I hope everybody in the audience is getting this, because, like, as somebody who suffered personally years ago from this kind of thing at one of my previous jobs, and as somebody that has been guilty of letting this kind of stuff flow to my team, I think that the change can be pretty massive. And if you could implement what Sherol is talking about here, that you would see that your team would begin to flourish. If they're not right now, and they're struggling, and they're kind of they're feeling burned out, look at look at the amount of politicking that might be happening.
Yeah, sure.
And if you start to clean it up, you might see a big turnaround in not only productivity and velocity, but maybe just, the how much people are flourishing on your team.
Yeah.
Sherol, if there's one thing that tech leaders should do tomorrow to begin doing this and helping their team to flourish, what would it be?
Two things. I would recommend every leader. Two things. Make sure every team member, that one way or another in your project or in the environment that you create for them, they will improve, in the meaning that they will, at the end of the project, they will be on a higher level than when they started. It doesn't matter if it is salary, knowledge, whatever, but make sure that they are at a higher level at the end of the project. That's one. The second thing is that what helped me a lot during my career as a project manager or leader or in the IT industry is having a mentor, or not even one, but several mentors. You have several types of mentor. One is a teacher, one is your boss, and one is your peer. Somebody you can be accountable. Hey, I have this problem in my team. I don't know how to deal it. Be vulnerable, at those, because it needs to be somebody you trust, but it needs to be somebody that already traveled that path, So when they're talking to you, opening doors or whatever, they know what they're talking about, So I recommend every leader, to have a mentor or a team of mentors, where they can go when they have some problem or questions or, anything. So, or they need to be accountable to, have that team, and then you will see that you and your team will get better and better.
Yeah, both of us, because we want our teams to flourish, but we also want us to flourish also. Sherol, how can people contact you or connect with you?
They can go to the website bossdynamics.biz, B-I-Z, or they can contact me on the email Sherol, SHEROL @bossdynamicsbiz.biz, or my phone number is 443-622-0495.
Awesome. We'll make sure that those links are in the show notes so that people can connect with you if they want to. And Sherol, this has been a really great conversation, and I can't wait for more people out there to begin flourishing because of what we spoke about today. Sherol, thanks for your time. We'll see you next time.
Thank you so much for the opportunity, Byron.
This has been another episode of the Team Amplifier podcast. Thanks for joining us. Now, get out there and be a team amplifier.